Yeah, and I'm gonna pull up I won't be able to see you after this, so just know that. Please drop things in the chat, and Kellen, like I said, interrupt me at any time if we need that. So present so you guys can see. Oh, maybe my buttons want to work. Share. Here we go. Okay. I think we're good now. Okay. Our Meet Your Best Friend at the Law Firm event. I know you received a couple emails, kind of some things that are changing a little bit this year. If you're not familiar with that, we have a couple different requirements this year. For anyone who doesn't know, we hold a big adoption event in Mike Morse Law Firm back parking lot. And he's been a wonderful partner of ours, making sure that we have adoption coverages and events like this. Actually, twice a year, we have one at the shelter as well that he hosts for us. And it is just a wonderful time for people to come and get their animals right on the spot, get to talk to people, get to see what just is out there, what types of organizations there are. We have partners come, we have some food trucks and things like that. So it's a really nice event. But this year's going to look a little bit different. We put in some guidelines that we wanted some of our partners to join us and come along the ride with. And it was a little bit difficult for some of them. So we might not have as many partners this year. We're still working out the kinks, but essentially what we did was we just wanted to make sure that this was an event that all animals were available to go home the same day. And some of our rescue partners just couldn't, with whatever grounds that they have that they need to follow, couldn't do that this year. So I just want to give you guys a heads up that it might be a little bit on a smaller scale than it usually is if you've been here before, which we're just trying to make up by bringing some additional animals, hopefully from Michigan Humane. We're going to be closing all of our locations. So Detroit, Westland, and Petco will be closing for a part of the day so that we can take staff out there, bring as many animals as we can, and make this, as good of an event for the animals to get adopted as possible. So it might look a little bit different this year, but nothing crazy. Just want to give you guys a heads up if you're like, where's that partner? There might have been some challenges for them this year. So, and I'll talk about how the map looks a little bit different as well. But essentially, what we're going to talk about tonight is the event duration and what we're looking for throughout that time. We're going to take a look at the map. We're also going to talk about volunteer responsibilities, what the adoption process looks like for this, if you're unfamiliar with this event, or just our adoption processes in general. And then talking about kind of our run of show. And anyone who has not done an event with us, just so you know, after this virtual, tomorrow you will receive a big document with a lot of information. It's got meeting times and pickup times and where you're going and who to talk to and what to wear and all of that kind of information. Probably too much information, but I like to make sure that you guys are prepared. So you will receive that from my email, Ashley Ray, tomorrow at some point once we've checked all of our boxes with the management for this event. So don't worry if you don't get everything answered tonight. It will definitely be in that document. It's got a lot of details for you guys. So that's going to be coming over tomorrow, a full run of show document. Okay. All right. So here, I know this is crazy because it is a Google Maps looking picture, but I want to make sure you guys kind of have an understanding of where you're going. There's two entrances to Mike Morse Law Firm, which is this huge space here with all these crazy parking lots. His big, huge space that we have in Southfield is fantastic for this because we have a lot of people come to this event usually. Typically, what we send home is about 200 animals from all of our partners. So this is a big adoption day. So this space is better than anything we can offer at our shelters, to have a one-stop shop for partners to come and have their animals adopted. And when I talk about partners, if you guys are unfamiliar, those are other rescues that join us for the day and try to get their animals adopted. So we've got like DACC coming with us, Birmingham, so other shelters that are trying to just get out there and get seen and hopefully get their animals adopted are going to be joining us. So when you come to Mike Morse, we're going to enter off of this side. You can come off of Evergreen. It's usually not a block or anything like that, but just, to kind of give you a clearer place. When you come off the highway, this is going to be the more obvious route. When you come up, you're going to see like big dog and cat inflatables, and it's going to have like a big sign that we're having an event. So it's pretty clear to see where you're going if you haven't seen this building before. Um, there's no challenges to the parking either. It's going to be open like this. We're not going to have like anything coned off or anything because guests can park wherever they'd like. But for volunteers and staff, we want you to bypass the building completely and come all the way to this area that's kind of blocked off away from the parking lot. Um, this is going to be our parking space for staff and volunteers. You'll see the event once you come up. It's entirely chain linked in, just in case we have any animals slip away from anybody. So you'll see it once you come up. You'll see the white tents and everything that'll be in this event space here, which I'll break down what that inside looks like in just a moment. But yeah, we're going to park over here. And then once you park, you're going to come kind of the backside here, which you'll see on the other map. There's a gate that you can come in. The entrance to this area for guests is on this side, but we're going to come to this like back area over here, which you'll be able to see. And again, if you have any questions at any point, please drop those in the chat. Oh, somebody's coming in. Hold on, let me let them in. Okay. So that's the parking space all the way down here, and I'm just going to repeat this real quick since I had someone join us, all the way past the building. We're not going to Mike Morse. We're just using his parking lot. So past the building into this parking space over here next to our big event space. All right, so now I'm going to show you kind of what the event space looks like and what's going to be happening as we go through. So this is a zoomed in of the big white square of where the event space was. So you guys are parking up here where my little blue circle is and coming to the gate back here to bring your animals in. The majority of us this year, like I said, is going to be Michigan Humane versus last year. Last year where we had maybe more partners on the sides, we're bringing more animals. So we'll have a bigger space for dogs and puppies. This is a tent, so we'll have nice coverage for dogs to walk under too if it's getting too hot. This 20 space right here is actually going to be our adoption tent. So that's different from last year if you've been here before. And then our cats, and we're bringing rabbits this year, which is nice, or at least one rabbit. So that will be along the side here. So anyone working with cats or rabbits will be under this tent. Anybody working with dogs and puppies will be under this tent. Then any of our partners who are joining us will be along this side here. We have a place to stop for people to like be under the shade and water. Sometimes people like to hang out and just look at what's here. They like to talk to the partners that are not bringing animals. So we have like some vendors in these squares here. So it is supposed to be kind of a fun thing for them to hang out. We have some food trucks and things. So people linger, but it might be hot. So we do have a tent this year for them to kind of hang under, get some water, cool off. If they've already adopted an animal, it's a place where they can hang out with that animal and be under some shade until they decide that they are ready to leave. So that's our side. And then, like I said, our partners are going to be down here on this side. So we don't need to worry about any volunteers going over there. If you are about to leave or something because your animals are adopted and you want to go check out what they've got, you're more than welcome to. But we're going to be sticking to our big tents here and here. So to give you guys kind of a rundown of what the day is going to look like, once everybody arrives, you're going to hang out in your spaces. I'm going to have Kellen take my cat and rabbit people to start and get you distributed into your space. So once you arrive to the event at 9 o'clock, that's going to be your place to hang out. And then I'll take the dog and puppy people to this side and we'll kind of do our huddles separate just so that there's not a ton of you. I think there's something like 30 of everybody coming to this event. So we have a lot of volunteers. So I want to make sure that you just get, the information you need in the space that you need. So we'll split you guys up and then get you settled. So I'm going to talk a little bit because I know that some people haven't been to this event before and I just want to make it as clear as possible so that you know what you're doing. So if you're bringing animals to the event, which again, you'll get that list tomorrow of what you're doing, where you're going, who you're meeting with, where to pick up, how to enter the building, all of that information is going to come to you now that I'm going to be able to finalize it tomorrow. You can, when you first get there, pull your car in here to bring the animals through. So I know some of you guys have done that before and brought your carriers in, brought the dog in, however you need to do that. We'll be there to help you out. So feel free to pull up to this gate. Somebody will be manning that. It's just like a swing chain link gate. It's not like a big fancy gate. So we'll make sure that you guys can get in there. We're going to be helping our partners come in there. So we'll be very familiar with people like bringing in the vehicles that they have. And then we'll get you settled. So if you're bringing a dog, I'm going to talk to dog people for a second. If you're bringing a dog, feel free to hang out under the tent, but there also will be some fake grass that we've put out on this side down here as a relief station for any of the animals. So even our partners can use that space. We'll have stands with poop bags, but you'll also get those when you get your dog from the shelter. We'll have a space behind the tent too that is like a away from everybody. It's blocked off. So like if your dog is really reactive or something, there's plenty of room for them to get away and be, you know, away from the chaos for a little bit. Hopefully it's a little less chaotic because we don't have as many partners this year. So sometimes it's like a lot of dogs walking around because people adopt and then they walk, but maybe that won't be such an issue this year. But definitely feel free to move them away if you're like, this dog's too overwhelmed, there's too many people, there's too many other animals around. Feel free to move them. Feel free to go under the tent and get some shade, whatever you need. If you get to a point where you're like, I really think my dog is done, they are so stressed out, they are too hot, they are, you know, starting to act differently, and I think they need to go back, please just let me know or let Kellen know, whoever is near you. Let them know that because we don't want to keep them here if they're unhappy and they're stressed out because they're not going to show well to guests anyway. We don't want any incidents happening or anything like that. So just keep an eye on your dog and use your best judgment and, you know, come to me if you are like, I really don't think they're doing okay. That's perfectly understandable. Not every dog is, we're trying to pick animals that are okay with this event, but you know, sometimes you get there and it changes. So please just um, use your best judgment for that. So that's dogs. Any questions in the chat for any dogs or anything like that? I want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, you're good to move on.
Okay, cool. So that's this half. If you haven't been here before, on the other half, this isn't really going to change from previous years, but we will have another fenced in area. And inside that fenced in, inside the tent, inside the fenced in area are going to be cages for puppies. So if you're a puppy handler, um, go ahead and know right now, if you're a puppy handler, we don't need puppy transportation. So you won't be picking up your puppies. Our transportation team will be doing that. You should have got an email from me earlier. If you're still willing to pick up cats, that's awesome. Just let me know, shoot me an email. But you don't have to pick up any puppies. We'll be transporting those in our van instead. But we will have crates for puppies. Usually we have a little playpen so we can have several puppies out and about, kind of, you know, being cute and getting people's attention. Volunteers in this area with puppies, we're only going to let a few people into that gated space at a time because what we don't want is just a bunch of people fighting over puppies. They go pretty quick because they're puppies. So we're only going to let a few people in at a time so that they can take their peek, talk to a volunteer, see if they're interested. If they are, then they can adopt. That is probably the area that goes mostly the fastest. Maybe kittens are a pretty close second. But puppies, everybody's, you know, interested in puppies. So those volunteers in that space, you're going to be helping pulling them out of the playpen, holding them, letting people hold them, just being like a safety net in case they get wiggly, helping with their kennels. They usually just put down a couple pee pads in there, and then just pulling those out if they have an accident. Another volunteer can hold the puppy while you do that. And then once a puppy is adopted, we just break down that crate that they were in. If there's no other puppy, sometimes there's two puppies in one. But if that crate's empty, we're gonna break it down and we're gonna get rid of it. So it's an easy move out when the event is over. And then there's just less chaos kind of in that space because there's not as many crates hanging out. So that's the puppy space. Any questions on puppies? They should have their water bowls attached to their kennels again this year. That worked out really well so that we weren't constantly cleaning up wet pee pads just from their water spilling. That worked out really good. So we should have that again this year. Any questions on puppy stuff? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Seems like everybody feels great.
All right, great. Yeah, the biggest chaos of this event is preparing for the transportation and picking up, I will say. That's kind of the headache area. Once you're there, you're just hanging out and you're chatting with people, you're making them feel good, showing them off to, showing the animals off to them. So once you're there, it's really easy. It's the pickup stuff that gets a little complicated in the communication. So thank you all for bearing with me. In the cat and rabbit area, we have typically ferret cages. If you guys are not familiar, those tall black kennel cages that have like little ramps and things. That's what a lot of our kittens go into. I don't know if we're bringing any adult cats. It depends on how comfortable they might be with this event, but usually kittens are really easygoing. We hold on to a bunch of kittens because it's kitten season, and then we just let them all get adopted at this event. So lots of kittens, a lot of them housed together in kennels. We have some little kennels that'll be on the table. All of the animals should be, or all of the cats should be up on tables, not on the ground. Um, and for any volunteers in this area, we have slip leads, so little plastic slip leads. If you haven't seen those before, they're usually blue or red, white, and blue, to put on the kittens if you're going to get one out for somebody, because what we don't want is for a kitten to escape. So they're little leashes, you just loop them around their head, and hold them. And even when you have a guest hold them, I would still hold, you yourself hold the end of the leash, just in case that kitten decides to swipe at somebody and then they accidentally drop, their hands fly up. You still have a way to hold that kitten so it doesn't get away. We haven't really had that issue that I know of, but it's just an extra safety precaution. So we will have those for you. Same thing with the rabbit handler. I don't know if you're on my call, but um, if you want to get the rabbit out of their cage for somebody, then you can put one of those loops around their neck too, just to have an extra safety, because especially rabbits, they like to kind of kick out and try to get away from people sometimes. So we will have those available for everybody. Um, Kitten spaces, you don't really have to worry about cleaning them up. They should have little litter boxes. We don't have to worry about those until the end of the event. You don't have to worry about emptying them or anything like that right away, because again, they're usually housed together. So there's probably like 5 or so kittens in some of those kennels. So we don't have to worry about like emptying those out until the actual end of the event. Any questions on kittens or rabbits? No? Okay, cool. All right, so now that we know what each of our spaces is about, the other thing that I want to talk about that is the change here is where our adoption tent is. So adoptions used to happen right underneath the tent, and all of our animals were housed in here. Now we are bringing them out because we're bringing more animals. So we're going to have it be outside of the tent so the animals can be inside the tents instead. So there's still going to be a little white tent, and our staff who are doing adoptions and processing the payment will sit under that tent and process there. Best practice is for us to go with the adopter. So if you are handling say a puppy, and your person decides that they want that puppy, you're going to take their paperwork off their kennel and go with them with the puppy. Because we want to make sure, one, that they get, it would be horrible if someone just walked out with a puppy without adopting, but who knows? So we want to make sure that they get to the adoption tent, and actually process their adoption. So going with them, also if they need to fill out paperwork or get their wallet or something, then they have someone with them to hold that puppy or whatever they need help with while they're processing their adoption. So um, puppy people, you should all be able to leave because we have enough of you, and usually the puppies go pretty quick. My cat area, um, I'm probably gonna have people be more like runners, like they can leave, and then at least 2 people always being in the cat area, just so that people aren't left with nobody to talk to. If, say we have 5 kittens getting adopted at once. We don't want everyone to walk away and then there's nobody under the tent. So we'll determine that. Callan will be over there with you guys. If you are, selling up your kitten, someone says, I would love to adopt this kitten, then you can hand them the kitten and say, great, why don't you go ahead with so and so, and they'll take you over to the adoption tent. And then 2 people at least can always be over there.
We will for sure figure out a process.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want everyone just leaving. I don't think it's going to be that crazy. One of the things that I didn't mention is that even though we have a ton of people lined up for this event, we only let in about 20 people at a time to the whole event because we've had it before where we've just opened the gate and everyone's bum rushed and then people are arguing over what animal they're getting. So there usually is a line by the time we arrive in the morning because this gets promoted everywhere and people are really excited. Um, but we're only letting in 20 people at a time into the event itself. So there shouldn't be like 100 kittens getting adopted at once, but there could be a couple, and we want to just make sure everybody has a spot. Any questions on that? You're not doing any adoption processing. You're not doing any payment handling. That's all for the adoption staff, so you don't have to worry about that. You're just escorting them to make sure that they get where they need to go safely. Okay, cool. I'm glad this is all hopefully making sense. I feel like I'm talking a ton, and I know sometimes that gets confusing, so I just want to make sure you guys are good. Going back to these blue tents here. One of the changes that I am going to include in the email if the volunteers are not on the call for this, but um, these are going to be partners. So these might be, I don't know who is coming for our vendor partners. Could be, who have we had before? Oh my gosh, my brain's like not even thinking of anybody right now.
Oh, it's folks like HAP
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Delta. Has Delta ever gone to this one?
Sometimes, yeah, it's always different. It's just people who maybe want to offer their services. Sometimes pet related people come. So if you've ever been to one of our events, you know, like we had the treadmill dogs there, you know, just talking about options now that you're a new pet owner, like what are things that we can help you with? So yeah, there could be anybody and everybody in these partner spaces. The one that is red for a reason. So Premier Pet Supply, if you're unfamiliar, is one of our really, really good partners. We have 11 locations of theirs that have our cats on site. So they are part of us essentially. They last minute had something happen that their person can't come out and be physically there, but they will be getting us items still. So I have a volunteer. I don't know if you're on the call, but if you're not, that's okay, who was going to initially help with food distribution. We are changing that. We're not going to be bringing our big bags of food. So if one or two volunteers wants to help that we're planning to do that or be a greeter or something, would like to stand here and help pass out some freebies in place of Premier Pet Supply, that is a much needed location that I could use your assistance. So I didn't want to say, oh, we don't have food anymore, you can't come. I held that spot so that you still have a role and you can be a part of the event. And you're still giving away stuff. You don't have to lift bags anymore. You don't have to carry them out to people's cars anymore. We will be giving adoption packets like we do at the shelter. So they get a folder with all their information, their microchip, all of that stuff, which also, instead of having in person like we sometimes do at this event, we'll have coupons for them to get their kitty litter and food from a pet store instead of on site today. And then they will get a little adoption bag of food for their pets. So they'll, you know, not really need help carrying that. So just a little bag of food. So a little bit changed there, but yeah, we'll have additional partners here. Swaggles and stuff might have clothes and cute things. So this is part of why people kind of linger around, is there's just some fun stuff that they can have and buy and see how it goes. So okay, that's the vendor area. So that's essentially everything for us. I know it says there's a South Dog Row over here, that we may have some of our partners outside the actual gate spaces. It just is going to be dependent on how many animals that they're bringing, which again, just like us, still is something that has to be determined really close to the event. One of the reasons that we all do that is we don't want, you know, to hold an animal for a whole week when they could have potentially gotten adopted just to go to this event. So that's why those numbers change pretty close to the event itself. Okay. Any other questions about the map before I move on? No? Okay, cool. All right. All right, so shift times on Saturday. We need you guys to be there at Mike Morse by 9 o'clock. So if you are picking up an animal, I mean, to make sure to kind of plan for that, I'm going to say 8 o'clock to arrive at the shelter to give yourself plenty of wiggle room. Just depending on where you're coming from. I don't know where everyone's coming from. If you're going to Westland and then you're going out to Southfield or, all of that, like kind of crazy madness wherever you're going. I just want to make sure that you guys have plenty of time. The event itself doesn't start until 10. So don't rush yourself either. If you're struggling to get the dog in your vehicle or, something happens while you're driving, always put your safety ahead of getting to the event itself. There are plenty of animals. Your one cat or whatever you're transporting is not going to be the end of the day if you need to take your time. The event, like I said, does not start until 10 o'clock. So please don't, rush yourself. If you're not there right at 9, it is okay. Um, the volunteer dismissal is at 1:30. We are hopeful, just going off of previous years, that we can start packing up the event just kind of organically as animals start to get adopted, to start packing up by 1 o'clock. So even though the event goes until 2 o'clock, you guys are done at 1:30 because we're assuming that will be a nice wrap up for everybody. There's probably not going to be a lot left. Unfortunately, it's usually adult dogs just because those are harder to place. Puppies and kittens almost always are completely gone. I think last year we maybe took two puppies back. So most everything is going to be adopted, which is lovely. And if you're done and there's nothing else to do to help pack up or anything, just come check in with me or Kellen. And if you can leave at that point, then we'll let you go. So um, don't need to hang around if there's like two kittens and we have a bunch of volunteers. So we'll make those determinations. Just come talk to us once your animal gets adopted if you need to go. So um couple notes that aren't on here but will be in your run of show. We will be providing food for you guys. So in the morning, one of the trucks that will be there is I think they're called Bear Claw Coffee. And they have a list that volunteers and staff can pick from that are at a certain price point, and you guys can pick whatever, and that they're covering that. If you want anything additional off that list, you're more than welcome to pay for it yourself, but there will be a list for you guys so you can get coffee and things when you arrive. And then around 11 or 12, we should get pizza from our partner Buddy's Pizza, who's just always lovely and providing food for everyone. So I already gave our volunteer numbers to the team. They know that you're getting food, so you guys will get that. And Kellen and I will make sure that we rotate people out to get their breaks, especially our dog handlers, since you don't really have anywhere to put your dog. We'll make sure that we have someone come and hold your dog for you, or one of us do it, or however we need to do it. We'll make sure that everybody gets a break. And if you need a break at any point, please let us know. We'll distribute some walkie-talkies. It's not a huge space, but walking around with a dog or something is sometimes hard. So we'll give some various walkies out. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I've been standing for too long, my feet hurt or something like that, please just let us know. Don't feel like you have to wait until the end of the day to have a break. It's just like a job. You should get a break when you need one. So let us know that. If you need a bathroom break, we will have porta johns, but if you are uncomfortable with those, or just we have a lot of guests or something like that, staff and volunteers can go into Mike Morse's building and use the restrooms as well. It's a little hike across this parking lot, but those are available if we need them. Any questions on just some general information about the event or breaks or anything like that? No? Okay.
Looks like
And on
nothing.
top of just making sure that you are taking care of your animals that you're with, just general responsibilities, talking to guests, selling up your animal, answering as many questions as you can. If you don't know the answer, that's why, there's staff and me and Kellen around. Please just direct them to us or to the adoption tent if you get some weird questions that you don't know how to answer. Again, it's not a huge space, so you should be able to flag one of us down in your space, but and hopefully you won't get too many weird questions. And then just managing foot traffic, making sure that if you're handling a dog or something, you're keeping your space, making sure that people are keeping their space. Um, if you're in a big spot and a big family comes over to meet a dog and there's a bunch of the other dogs nearby, just you guys have the authority to say, you know what, it's kind of crowded over here. Why don't you come and we'll meet them over here or something like that. There is all that space behind the tent, so feel free to use it to your disposal if you need to. Meet and greets are probably going to happen better away from other things happening, so you're more than welcome to make that determination for your dog. Okay, next step here. All right. Okay, I kind of went over this a little bit. Let me see if there's anything I missed. Wow, I went over everything. Um, slip leads for everything. We'll even have a couple for the puppies if you really need them. Puppies should be held. If you're unfamiliar with our processes, puppies under a certain age range don't have all of their vaccinations yet. So we need to keep them up off the ground where they could pick up illnesses, they could pick up things from other dogs or something like that. So that's why all the puppies should be held. So if you're a puppy handler, you're picking them up and you're handing them to the guests. Like they shouldn't just like put them down on the ground. The puppies in the playpen will have like fake grass underneath them, so they won't be like touching the actual ground either. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're not used to handling puppies in the shelter already. All of our puppies in the puppy space need to be picked up. Do, 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 do. Refilling water. We'll have water for all the animals. We'll have most likely a water station for the dogs. So you can just go and fill up a water dish and put it down for them. That's what we've been doing a lot more at our events. So there will be water. There will be water for volunteers because it might be a kind of a hot day. It got kind of hot today. So we're looking for a little bit warmer probably. Okay. Oh, do I have a question? I think Kellen did it.
No, just someone has to go a little early.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. So like I mentioned, adoption process, you're going to be handing them off to our adoption people. So just a couple notes for this here. This is actually a photo of Tom from last year, one of our volunteers with the kittens. So you can kind of see what the space looks like under the tent. It's just kittens in a container on a table. And they have their paperwork, which he's looking at with them right there. For each of the animals. So when they want to adopt, you're taking that piece of paper that corresponds with the pet they want and taking that with them too, so that the adoption staff know who they're giving them to. So that paperwork, I know a lot of you guys have been to the shelter. I just want to make sure I'm covering all my bases. That has details about the animal on it. So what their name is, what their age is, pink or blue if they're a boy or a girl, just to make it really simple for us. It also will give like a little blurb of their personality. Puppies and kittens probably don't have a lot of information because they're probably, not showing their personality fully yet, or they're healthy and we don't have a lot of details. So these should be pretty simple for puppies and kittens. For adult animals, it might be a little bit different. So if you're having like an adult dog or the rabbit or something like that, there may be some additional details on there. So I would suggest just getting familiar with those papers of whatever animal you have. Those should be sent from the shelter with you when you pick them up. So if it says just, they're working on their manners or they're really good at this or something like that, it gives you some talking points for whoever is interested in your animal. If they have any health concerns, those will be on there. You don't have to know everything about the concern, but you can know that and make sure that you can help them talk to an adoption specialist if they have more questions. Again, we're trying to send things that don't have a lot of stuff going on because we don't want it to be difficult for anybody. We want these animals to get adopted right away. So there shouldn't be a lot, but there may be some personality quirks or something that it might be on that paperwork for you to talk about. Um, there will be adoption boxes for kittens. I don't know yet if those are under the tables or in the adoption space, but one or the other. So there may be volunteers putting them in the box or adoption staff putting in the box or both, if you're helping in any way. So there will be boxes for them to go in so that people aren't just carrying kittens into their car. Um, and then, no large items to carry at this time. So like I said, the litter and big bags of food we're not doing this year. We're just doing the little adoption bags of food, and a coupon for the things that they can get. Okay. Next. All right, and then adoption pricing. Again, you don't need to remember this. This will be included in your run of show, but just so you have an idea of what the costs are, we don't want any animals to go above 300. So puppies under 4 months are $300. Puppies 4 to 6 months and small dogs, if we have any small dogs going, will be 200. Dogs large and if they're just over 6 months will be $100. Kittens are 125 and rabbits are $60. So trying to keep everything under $300, one-stop shop for things. They're fully vaccinated, they have microchips. So just in case someone's like, oh my gosh, why is it this much money? You can tell them that they come fully vaccinated with their microchips. Any medical things that we can do with them at this point have been done. So that goes into that cost, just in case people ask why it costs what it costs.
Ashley,
Uh,
we've got a question in the chat.
yes,
Um, can we bring celery sticks for the rabbits that we will have up for adoption?
sure. Yeah, that sounds
Very
great.
good.
That sounds lovely. Because I don't know what we're bringing with the rabbits at this point in time. So, I will also ask for us if there's anything coming, but if you are bringing something, that is totally fine. I'm super happy with that. Um, we've never brought rabbits to any adoption event that I know of, so this will be a new situation for us. All right. Okay, so that's everything. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to stop sharing for now so I can see everybody and see if you have questions about anything. So let me stop this real quick. And all right. Does anyone have any questions? You can drop them in the chat or you can come off of mute. Happy to chat with anybody. The other thing I want to say is in that information that you will get tomorrow, your big, lovely, huge information packet that you're going to get from me, there will be additional details for whichever location that you're picking up from. So it'll say if you're Detroit, this is where you're parking. This is what, what entrance to use. This is who to ask for when you arrive. This is their phone number just in case you struggle to get in. What you need to make sure is in your treat pouch. They should be set up for you, but just double, do a double check. Make sure you have everything you need. Make sure you have treats. Make sure you have poop bags, those kind of things. So that there will be a very detailed list for you for anything that you need to know moving past today. Looks like I have a question. Let's see. Do any general info for photography or general all around event stuff, showing the fun, etc. Yes, this is a great question. So if you are unfamiliar with Michigan Humane's brand for photography, this isn't something you have to stick super close to, especially if somebody's just like snapping a photo with their phone. You're just someone's adopting your dog and you want to take a photo. But if you're actually taking photos for us for this event, you can go around to everybody, so us and our partners. We would love to have photos of our partners and our vendors. But the main focus for us is to show the human animal bond and for the animal to be the focal point, if possible. So it's not, like I said, it's not a requirement, but if you ever take a look at any of our photos, you'll see like it's like puppy head is really clear, and then you can see the person kind of smiling in the background. So don't feel like you have to have that down, but if you are trying to fit something, that's kind of what we're looking for. Another thing that I personally love is obviously photos of our volunteers talking to guests. I would love any of those that we can possibly get, especially if we can get like the picture of volunteer written on the back or the front of their shirt, because I use those for our, all sorts of volunteer stuff that we send out. Those are lovely. Adoption staff talking to guests, anything like that, other guests laughing with each other. I mean, all that kind of stuff is lovely to have. Looking at the items that the vendors are giving away is nice because they appreciate that. So all sorts of photos we'll take. We love photos. And that goes for anyone too. Like if you're not the photographer and your pet gets adopted and you want to ask, the guest, like, can I snap a photo of you with so and so? Please do, and then send those to us. We love to have those on our file for whenever we need them. I hope that answers the question well enough. Any other questions? And like I said, if you guys get your run of show tomorrow and you get your directions for picking up or anything like that, and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Please just shoot me an email and I'll jump on a call with you. I want to make sure that I clarify anything. So if something comes over and you're still not understanding or you're feeling like you're confused by it, just shoot me an email first because I might be walking around and that's just an easy way for me to make sure that I sit down and call you. And then I will give you a call and we'll talk about it. Okay. I hope everybody's excited. It should be a really good day. Should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll get a lot of animals adopted and we'll just be, you know, not we don't want to take anything back to the shelter. That would be great. We would love that. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording.